Okay, thanks. I'm going to be really quick. I already wasted some time. Okay, so this is supposed to be something artistic, but also refers back to the time of the Greek, where they used to think about artificial things and so on. And so this is related to artificial intelligence. Ada Lovelace has been thinking about some of the things that are related to AI and so on, and beautiful photo. And then there's some biological inspiration behind deep learning. So what I do is deep learning plus natural language processing. And so the deep learning part is done. And I'm going to skip like some slides. I'm going to go here and say, okay, machine learning is impactful in our life nowadays. And deep learning is very impactful because it's in your pocket. So all the machine translation and speech recognition and things are powered by these models. Okay, that's it. Some of the work I do, so I call it effective sociopragmatics, and I'm going to talk about emotion very quickly. But other work that I've been doing is related to like modeling empathy and modeling social media user location and so on and so forth. So the idea here is that how do we derive some insight from people's communication online, publicly available social data such as Twitter, for example. And so I model this with machine learning, and then these models can be used to sort of like get some understanding of some concept. For emotion, I think what I will say, there are, as you know, different types of psychological theories and so on. And we have done some work on modeling English language emotion on Twitter. And also I'm extending this work, so already extended to Arabic, and we are in the process of doing this on a bunch of other languages. The problem is that the best approach to do this with deep learning right now is what is called supervised learning, where you have data where humans have said, okay, this is expressing the joy emotion, for example. So human decisions are very important because deep learning is very data hungry. There are other types of doing this, but they are more challenging and not as successful. And so I'm just going to say, okay, so you're all familiar with these bidimensional models of emotion. So we kind of used Robert Plutchik's wheel of emotion, and we kind of modeled 24 different types, as you see here. Without getting into any details, I'm just going to say that, okay, we had a way of like automatically labeling data from Twitter and then exploiting these data to kind of detect. So given a tweet, can we detect what type of emotion expressed in it? We are working on packaging and releasing code that would run on Twitter data to detect these things, and I expect it to be available in maybe 3 to 4 weeks. Okay. And then the other thing that is related to this, because we want to actually know, so if I'm able to model emotion, for example, I want to model it for different people in different places. And there is this idea of, okay, in language, people talk about different languages, but also different dialects. There's a concept of micro-dialects. So there is some research that has been done on, for example, New York. Certain places in New York, people use language differently, even within the same city. And so what we're getting at is actually trying to do some of this. We're working on different languages, but I just chose to show you something related to Arabic because I talked about English in the emotion part. And this is Morocco because I like Moroccan tea anyways. And these are different types of cities and so on from which we have collected and manually verified that this is actually data coming from these specific types of cities. And I also like the colors. What we ended up doing is, so we have data manually verified from 300 plus cities across the whole Arab world from all these countries. And we also labeled the data to not only represent the city, but also the province or the state within the same country. And we're trying to predict, given a tweet, where exactly it is coming from. And relatively, actually very successful compared to a chance. And we did this with different types of neural nets and so on and so forth. But 90% accuracy, for example, predicting the city of from which a tweet is coming. Okay, 20 seconds. We also so this is useful for things like this is Yemen, where there is like an atrocious war going on and so on, and these models can be used in real world situations. Actually, we are also packaging this, and this code should be available 2 to 3 weeks again. There are 2 students working on this, so I'm positive. So another thing that we try to do is to actually model the age and the gender of a social media user. This work can be misused, but it can also be used. I don't work with Cambridge Analytica. Anyways, yeah, and there are some other things getting into some deeper insights related to how we understand, emotion and so on, certain other concepts. I don't have time to talk about this, but yeah, we can get into some of the, yeah. Okay, this is Claude Shannon. I like him. He did lots of good things. Anyways.